Let's talk about AI in education. Now, when it comes to education, you might be thinking of this archaic establishment. Maybe you have some memories of school that you don't really want to remember. I remember my time in school, like I didn't really enjoy it. Like I was decent at school, but it wasn't necessarily my favorite place to be. And if I could find an excuse not to be at school, I was definitely trying to use it. And so that experience for me didn't feel like a fun experience because I didn't feel like I learned certain things that I probably should know now, that now I'm spending time on the internet researching, as opposed to having learned them in class, in school, where I feel like we learned just general topics and touched on a couple things that are important just as general knowledge, but not much useful information that I can use in the real world. So when it comes to education, you obviously have school systems, you have the private school system, you have the public school system, and they operate a little bit differently, but also as part of the education that happens there, it's not always useful to people in the real world. So students might feel disconnected, they might feel like they're not getting the proper education that they need, whether they realize it or not. But the reality is there are many things that should be taught in schools that just simply aren't. And in order to teach people this information, you have to think about the process of how all of this actually happened. Basically, somebody out there does the research, gathers the information, right? Once that information is gathered, it's published in these textbooks. By the time these textbooks actually make it to the school, let's say like a science textbook, a lot of that information is already out of date. And so when students are sitting in class and learning from this textbook that's out of date, it seems kind of strange, doesn't it? Because they're learning this information that literally is not even accurate anymore. And then they're forced to remember it and take tests on it and all this stuff. And while that may have worked for a while, I think there's a better way to do it. This is where artificial intelligence comes into the picture. Because with artificial intelligence, you can actually create entire courses, entire textbooks. You can make quizzes and even gamify this whole process by simply using AI. And so if you have an educator, let's say for example, I think an improved school system would be possibly a subject matter expert, a SME, right? This person is going to know exactly what needs to be taught on this topic, and maybe they can review some of this content. Then you could have content that is uploaded to this person's file. This person can review the content. If it is approved, and by the way, this could be like a central organization where you maybe have, let's say, the #1 scientist in the world, he's reviewing this content. All of this content is sent to him, he reviews it. As long as it's approved, it can immediately be distributed using AI. So if there was a platform that basically allowed people to learn on this platform instead of a textbook, that platform could immediately distribute this information. And with the help of AI, you could immediately make new workbooks, you can make new textbooks, you can make new quizzes and courses and even video courses using an AI avatar. You can even create games around this course content. And so it really opens up the door for so much opportunity, because if somebody had to manually sit there and build all of this out, that would take a very long time. And so we're basically removing that delay from when information is discovered or found out or researched. We're basically eliminating that whole gap, because now information can be immediately transmitted from once it's approved to the students, and they can begin learning the most up-to-date information. And I think that's actually a necessary step in the educational system because of how fast information changes and how fast technology changes these days. So we have to be able to educate people faster and faster and faster because things are changing so quickly. There's always new knowledge that is being discovered. When new knowledge is discovered, it needs to be communicated or socialized to all the people to whom it is relevant. And so this puts us in a very interesting position, because if now we can use AI to learn, now we have a lot more power. We're a lot more equipped. We're empowered to be able to use that information to create information even faster. So if previously, let's say it takes 2 years for valid information to get to somebody, then it takes them some time to learn that information. It takes them some time to basically begin researching additional information based on that information. And once that new information is researched and found, then maybe another 2 years until it's communicated again, right? So you have like this 4-year loop of information. But that loop can get smaller. So now if it takes, let's say, even just 1 month, right? If we get it down to 1 month where the information is discovered, it's submitted to this centralized board, this person, the powers that be at the board, are approving this information, and they decide to disseminate this information across all the people learning on this platform. This information is transferred to everybody's local textbook or their digital textbook that they have. They learn that information, and if that can happen in 1 month, now somebody can take that information and make accurate decisions and additional research or whatever it might be based on this information. If it takes them some time to discover something new, then obviously it's another month until it's approved and communicated with everybody. It really tightens that loop, right? It's no longer a 4-year loop. Now it could be potentially a 1-month loop. But anyways, it's creating a lot of opportunity in education and a couple of other industries as well. But I think that the way that we're headed with artificial intelligence, it's very possible that some teachers may no longer have a job. I think right now teachers should learn how to leverage AI to make their job better. So I think the people that are going to continue to be successful in this career is the people that are learning how to use AI and how to make their educational process more engaging, better, more efficient using AI. So that could mean like AI grading, right? Or AI edits. All these different things need to be done using AI in order to, I think, survive in this next decade of being a teacher. I know it's already difficult to be a teacher. We love our teachers, but I think that it's very important that these people learn how to use AI in order to be more effective at what they do, because otherwise they may be replaced by people who do know how to use AI. I know school budgets aren't always massive, so it's a little bit difficult sometimes for school districts to have plenty of staff and all that stuff, but if people can become more efficient by using artificial intelligence, I think that that is a huge step forward, and it would actually make these people a lot more effective at what they do. It's basically supercharging their abilities to teach these children different things in the educational system. But besides even the educational system, this also transfers to coaches and people who are consultants and stuff like that, because it really supercharges your team. You could have your team literally double its effectiveness by using artificial intelligence to help you with some of the minor things. Like, for example, if I have information, if I have a research paper and I want to create a PowerPoint deck on it, I no longer have to hire somebody to build out that PowerPoint deck for me, which it might take them half the day. I could do it in seconds using AI. So now that has really catapulted my ability to educate possibly a prospective client or educate my team, maybe even internally, on whatever this research paper says through a slide deck that was created using AI. So there's a lot of tools like that. And I think it's just accelerated and amplified our ability to educate effectively and a lot more efficiently, because now it no longer takes so much prep time. Like, the thing is, if you can have somebody who's educated just provide the valuable content, I think we're really getting close to the point where AI can just do the rest. If you can provide that important information, that valuable content that only this expert knows, AI can handle all the little parts around it. So it's kind of like your team is AI, right? You have the information, you're the expert, you know what you're talking about, and AI is going to help you deliver that in a more effective way. So we're seeing that in education, in school systems, coaches, online courses, all that stuff, and AI just empowers and supercharges that whole process to make it so much better than it was before. Alrighty guys, make sure you look into a couple ways that you can use AI in the educational systems that you're involved in, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.